Stumbling block in my life, them no want to we strive. One day at a time, Jah give more blessing. Even in abundance, sorry, ain't got nothing, still I call for me king. It's more blessing. Give thanks, life, loot, and fair represent the mindset.
Blessed love, manners, and respect. Do give thanks and praise for life. This is the Mindset program. IjahStars, I'm your host, and I'm here. It's a great honor to be here with the Honorable Muta Baruka.
Yeah, man, give thanks, man. Rastafari.
Yes, sir, give thanks. First and foremost, more of your congratulate you on your lifetime
Achievement. Yeah, I heard that.
Yes.
But we don't get it yet.
You don't get it yet.
No, the 24th.
The mindset, thought-provoking. I'm your host, Honorable IjahStars, and we're there with our brand new mindset series live on the YouTube. Subscribe, IjahStars Mindset channel, YouTube. Blessed love.
Blessed love, pleasant good evening, good afternoon, warm welcome again. One more edition of the Mindset program, and I want to greet the item officially in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First, Divine Irata, Father and Mother, King Alpha and Queen Omega, beginning without end, first without last. Give thanks one more day, and we're there, and it's great to be here. We have a special guest on the platform with us today, honorable foundational member of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, the Right Honorable Priest Douglas Smith, and we'll be reasoning about his new book that is published and out there in the open space. So we are going to reason with the Honorable Priest, and we are going to link up with him in a moment. Think he's probably online right now. Seeing. So give thanks for everyone who there with we on the platform. Yeah, it's great to be here again, Zane. And the program is powered by Black Star International Media over there in Houston, Texas. Manners and respect, Zane. Also, Yard Slang Closing, Manners and respect. Give thanks for the strength and support every time. Zin, Holy Emmanuel, I Selassie, Ijah, Rastafari, bless and sanctify. Yes, my brothers and sisters, give thanks again. And Mindset program. Please spread the word. We're there upon the YouTube. Zin also on Reech Live Radio. Yes, manners and respect. Yes, my people. So, without no further delay, I'm going to introduce the Honorable Priest to the Mindset program. Bless you, love, my Lord.
Honorable King, Rastafari.
Rastafari. Yes, Baba. Good
Yes,
for your
man.
advice.
Give thanks, give thanks to life, give thanks to the life giver, keeper of life, Holy Emmanuel, I Selassie,
Rastafari.
Yeah, man, it's good to be here to share a sound with the listeners. And I, Rastafari.
Rastafari, my Lord. Yes, Bobo. Is a virtual and now I see the eye on your side. I don't know if your camera is on. Rastafari, my Lord. Yes, Bobo. Alright. I will just fix something here. That Yes, Honorable Priest, warm welcome again. Great to have the hype on the program. Good to see the man. Yes, Bobo. So there I have a new book out, Zane. I don't know if I have to call it a new book because there I talk about the elders them within this vibration. But the book is out. Title Rastafari in the 21st Century, What Life Has Taught InI, my Lord.
Yes, and it's a tribute. This is volume 1, a tribute to the elders. Several other volumes to follow. Because the history is extensive, and InI is trying to cover it from the origins of the movement up to this hour. So we're trying to chronicle it right now. So this is the first of the series, and naturally so we'd have to honor the elders them as the first.
True.
Because they were the first to really hold up this button here and, start the relay. It's a marathon, and they did their leg and hand it off to previous generation until it reached InI now. Man said the third and fourth generation. So InI give thanks, to have sat at the foot of, many of the esteemed elders and observed their ingenuity, their courage, their strength and their wise minds, So InI give thanks, to answer the duty call, to chronicle this great historical, evolution.
My Lord. Yes, I. The book speak about as I said, the elders
Zine, some of the elders them that I came in contact with during their journey, see the Coral Garden incident. Zine more of us kind of fast forward it a little bit, but the Coral Garden incident, Zine, when you reason with these elders, what were their account of what took place and how it really started out, the incident itself?
Well, as the history record, everyone can research it for themselves. An incident went down amongst someone's at a gas station. Not directly Rastafari, but one where they carry a little beard. So them label him or tag him Rastafari. And when that incident go down at the gas station, it gave the police them in Montego Bay a reason now to initiate something that was already in them. To exercise that self-hate syndrome that was put in I and I as African people in the West, through slavery and colonization. So I and I own brothers, black skin like I and I, were sent out to eradicate Rastafari. So that incident occurred amongst a so-called bearded man that them say is Rastafari. And from that incident go down, it became open season for Rastafari. Started in that region, but it spread to other parts of the island where I and I was. And, history recorded, whole heap of brutality, whole heap of man get beat up and locked up for nothing, innocently. There are some that have lost their lives too, from some of the beating that they took. Many lived with permanent damage over the years, hampering their ability to provide for them family, and to live a quality life. So that is why the brethren them call for justice from the government, and rightfully so. The present Prime Minister, some time ago in Parliament, made an apology to Rastafari for not just that incident, but for many of the brutality that was meted out to I and I by, sponsored by the government and by, their servants, the civil servants, the police, the soldier, and they also infected citizens to turn against I and I, their political allies, in their constituency. They brainwash them to see I and I as the black heart man, and the black heart man is a threat. So even the citizens in certain garrison areas became, harsh and violent towards Rastafari until, it became evident that the Rastafari was the only one really standing up for poor people. That the black heart man, even though them label the black heart as something negative, the black heart man is the foundation of all humanity. So the black heart man, while they feared I and I, was the one that was standing up for justice, equal rights and justice for all. Rastafari speak for justice, not just for I and I, Rastafari, or for African people, but for all indigenous people throughout the earth that have borne the blunt of colonization and oppression from the status quo. So, coming forward full circle to the Coral Garden incident.
Yes.
It was a planned thing, because the one of them called Alexander Bustamante, him was the one who kind of set the tone. Because the man say, you know, where you see one or two I and I, you know, them for report it, you know, say it. So them can come down upon I and I, harsh, you know. And him also say right now, if the prison can hold I and I, then Bogale, which is a cemetery, will hold I and I.
See?
And this man was talking about some people that are docile, harmless, you know, see, non-violent, are people that their motto was peace and love. Them liberty was about protecting and preserving humanity, nature, all things natural that was given to I and I by the Creator. So it's a people that really was no threat to them in no way, because we don't want nothing from the material world. We never seen, we were no competition for them and what they were wanted to achieve. The only thing that stood in their way is that we were rising the consciousness of the people through truths and rights.
And I pray thee, my lord, because the book speak about the unwritten history of the first generational Rastafari, and what I talk about now is those virgins from the first generation, see, the struggle that them go through. The book itself now, does it give does it put some of those things into context in terms of the Coral Garden?
And I bring the history. You know, when you say into context, it depends on what you mean. You know, it is up to the people to, you know, utilize the information, you know, in the way that they see it. Whether it elevate their consciousness or it clear up certain questions that they had about certain ones and certain situations, certain incidents, you know. But I and I bringing a factual account of those ancients' life, you know, the best that I and I can, with the information that those same elders imparted to I and I. See, so things like the Coral Gardens incident is in there, the history of it, you know, how one's view it now is up to the one.
Mm. Yes, I. All right, Bobo. Give thanks to them clearance. They still. Let me jog the eye memory now, my lad, because it's great to have the eye on the program, and you know everything what we are dealing with righteous and now is pertaining to, you know, the book itself. Seeing elder, I speak about the elders and you know the first generational Rastafari. Let's talk about one of the elders. Many know him as Bongo Eddie. Zin and I know him as Prince Emmanuel, the Black Christ in flesh. Talk to me about that elder, growing up with that man.
There's also another book out, you know, called The Philosophy and Opinion of the R.H Priest, also written by I. That gives you a historical account of the man. This book also within it, you know, bring added information. You know, most of the information that is in, you know, Rastafari in the 21st century about, you know, the Honorable Priest, Emmanuel Charles Edwards, is unknown to most, even most Bobo. You know, because true, and I grew up in a society, a Christian religious society, you know. So a lot of I as Rastafari still have a lot of that infused in I liberty or I, you know, character. So we tend to look at things from a more religious and biblical levels. Seeing now the high priest, while he was a man of faith, a man of high understanding, a man of science. He was a revolutionary also. What do I mean by that? The man stood for change. So we're going to start from the moment that everyone knew when this man excelled to prominence, see, which was the 1958 Groundation Convention that was held at Bakawal, called by the Honorable Priest. At the time, you know, like I said, most ones would call him Brother Eddie or Prince Emmanuel. Well, Prince Emmanuel called for a groundation amongst the movement leaders to discuss the situation that was affecting them most at the time, which was the harassment by the police, you know, the brutality that was being meted out to man and woman innocently. At that convention, the Rastafari liberty ideology was concretized. Prior to the 1958 convention, I was formulating the concept, the ideology of Rastafari, because it was transitioning from the Garvey era, the Back to Africa Garvey era, into the King of Kings era, and then into the Rastafari era. See, so the 1958 convention concretized the Rastafari era. You know, prior to that, even the ancient them that was chanting, you know, Black Power, they were hailing the king, and it was more a King of Kings concept. You know, it didn't reach to the level of Rastafari, you know, a nation of people or a movement of people at that junction. So the 1958 convention, like I said, concretized the ideology. What do I mean by that? All right. Raspido, one of the ancient, and Bongo Ivan, another ancient. You know, Wuzu's man, another ancient. Others know him as Brother Fairweather. Them three man, there are three elder where I man walk with. I walk with most of the elder them, but them three man there, because Pido was distant family to I and I did have a certain relationship. And Bongo Ivan was close to Pido. So just naturally I and him growing same way. And Wuzu's man was one of the crew, but I and him link up now when I'm on the trot out come on the US here, and we link up in Philadelphia, because that's where he resided in his last years before transition. So I and I did kind of demongst him, and I helped take care of him and up in him age. So I and I get to pick him mind and hear the stories them and hear the history, how it evolved to where I and I come receive it. See, and as Pido, who was the first one to give an account of the 1958 convention, him say, him hear about this convention down at Bakawal, and him decide say, well, yeah, him a go down, go take it in, because him want to hear what man say. Them time, most of the man them did what you call comb some. Them never wear no locks yet, them never put on them covenant yet. See, Pido was one of them. Him say when him go down at the convention, him spend a couple days down there, take part in the reasoning and so forth. On the way to the convention, him stop and hail Brother Goody, which is Brother Ivan, Bongo Ivan, and tell him, say, yo, hear about the convention? He say, no, which convention? He say, convention down at Bakawal, man. I'm on a yard go down there. See? So, him yard spend a couple days, on the way forward now, him stop again at Brother Ivan and tell Brother Ivan, go and give him a account of where him experience. And I tell Bongo Ivan, say, yo, a dreadlocks I do this thing right now. And I have to put on and I covenant and stand as Rastafari in this time. Bongo Ivan say, all right. You know, so I'm gonna go down there too. It was a 21-day convention. So he had enough time to go down there, but taking some days himself. When him go down there to the reasoning again, him himself come to that fullness, say, yeah, covenant. See, many of the man them talk of that moment as the moment when them fully embrace the dreadlocks or the locks covenant concept. See? And that was out of that 21-day reasoning now, it became mandatory that Rastafari wear them covenant. That means that they make a vow, you understand, with the Creator, to say, I'm gonna walk within righteousness all the days of my life. Not like in the past when man would wear him covenant for a moment, just for, you know, like a sacrifice or like a moment of purging or whatever it was. You know, a man would wear it for a year, 5 year, 10 year, whatever. I decided as Rastafari that I would be the living sacrifice, see, and carry that covenant 24/7. You know, see it as long as I walk above the earth. And out of that convention, that concept came and took root. So much so that round which part of the conference it became known as Nazareth. Why? Because that is where the Nazarite covenant became a standard within INI liberty. So it is known that Brother Eddie, Prince Emmanuel, is who rise up the Dreadlocks army out of Bakawal that end up becoming the global image of Rastafari. See? So that is the first great historical account of the High Priest. Now, as a youth in the early 70s, 72, 73, man was about 12-year-old them time then. Back in them time then I just started high school. So I used to skull school, what we call it, skull school on Wednesday, Thursday. And go to the movies, usually go take in the new karate will come out, because it usually, you know, premiere on the Wednesday, Thursday, depends on which theater. So usually on Monday, Tuesday, and I would get the Star, whatever the newspaper is, and look through it to see what movie I come out, where, and which one I would want to take in. So looking through the newspaper then now, for the movie, I'm on book upon an article with a headshot of Prince Emmanuel. And in the article, you know, it I use some words that even though I'm on, you know, pride myself as a decent enough student in a school, I never hear them words they use yet nowhere, neither by I peers nor by I family members. I never hear them words that I see join, I never hear them put together yet, like Black Redeemer, Black Redemption, you know, repatriation, you know. So them words are kind of spark our interest. So I decided to say, yo, and the article itself, I talk about the shepherd and what the shepherd is doing and what he has done and how he has been the voiceless in the inner cities of Kingston. You know, how this man always in the face of the politician them demanding better living standards for the people, seeing, demanding to be returned to Africa, demanding justice and equality, equal rights for all. Seeing, so everyone throughout Kingston at least know of this man in some way or some form. Seeing, especially the authorities. So in 1972-73, I decided, so well, yeah, when I see that article, instead of I have a skull school and go on movies this week, I will make a journey and try to find a hell there. So now, at the age of 12, I never did chat downtown yet, you know, down in a parade and downtown Kingston without my parents. So the first year that I ever make without my parents supervision.
Same.
So I man jump on a bus, reach downtown. I man ask the one them who are run the stall them, you know, what we call stall is the little, you know, hustlers, the little igglers on the side of the street that's selling their little produce and them little trinkets and so forth. I try to make a money for feed them family. I man check up I check a couple of them for say, how can I reach out a Bull Bay? Which transport carry out a Bull Bay? Them say just go around Orange Street, there on a parade there. And you will see a bus, man, X98. The X98 carry go a Bull Bay. And that's how you want. So I go around there and I find the bus, I jump on the bus take I out there. When I come off of the bus at Bull Bay, I inquire again to the Rastafari village. So them point I dump on the beach, so I make the yard go down on the beach. I buck up on a Rastafari fishing village. Bongo Puro, you know, Bongo Gabi, you know, Rasmini Jalide, you know, Ocean Island down there, Fuzzy, Timothy Hill, you know, several of the ancient them did down there, you know, I reason, I chant them drum, man, I do what them do. But I realized while it was intriguing and a great moment, a great experience, it wasn't where I was looking for. So I inquire of them, which part Prince Emmanuel there? Which part the man with them call Boba there? Them say, look up. Just turn to the hill and look up. So when I turn to the hill and look up now, I see the flag them a fly up there and I see the shack them, they got tattoo them on the hillside. And I say, okay. So now the prophecy came into mind where I did hear the prophecy say, a leader shall rise out of the bloody city. And he shall sit 10 miles out of the city on the northeast side of Warwick Hill, you know. And it cannot be hid, his city cannot be hid, you know. So the reality of that is, when I look up, it really couldn't be hid. And over the years, it became more visible because when I start living on there, and I paint up everything red, gold, and green, and I 7 flag them a fly, and, you know, and I have colors everywhere and things. So from your bus in a Bull Bay and go up and look up on the hill, you look to the, coming from Kingston, from you look to the right and look up on the mountainside, you see the red, gold, and green city. Anyway, I left from down at the fishing village now and head up the road and head up the mountain. And the closer I get to it is the drum sound I hear, I get louder and louder. No, I man is a youth of 12, never make certain tried yet, you know. But the courage of Rastafari was within I same way. So as I get closer, I had to beat now because, yeah, some form of fear, you know, coming at I of the unknown. And then same time now, you know, some of them propaganda story where I read and hear, coming at I mind about the Black Heart man and how them sacrifice youth and sacrifice people and things. So even with them things that pass through my mind, I said, you know, Jah is real. I'm an half a meet that man. You know. So I continue up the hill, continue up the mountain till I reach at this gate. You know. When I reach at the gate, it's this so now I realize, yeah, a heaven's gate me reach. Now, heaven is a state of mind. See, when I talk about nothing up in the sky, because that is one thing I man give thanks to Prince Emmanuel and the Emperor, Haile Selassie I, for they brought the concept of God from up in the sky thing, the supernatural, to I and I, reality. Yeah, upon the earth. So when I say heaven's gate, these are the physical heavens in my dispensation, see, and in my consciousness. Because when I look, I see an arch, painted red, gold, and green, and pictures on it, Marcus Garvey, the Emperor, King Emmanuel, Prince Emmanuel. See symbols on it, the black star and all of them things, the lion with the flag and all them things there. Then now, on the gate, you know, you had scriptures written up on the gate and, you know, certain slogan, you know, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will, and Africa for the Africans at home and abroad and things like that. And whole consciousness to start to, you know, my third eye just come away across and I feel my inner spirit just start to thirst and hunger to know more about this place and this man. Yeah. So I knock on the gate and the guard come open the gate. At the time the guard was Priest Neil. Priest Neil come let me in, carry me to the guardhouse, you know. I man have to take everything out of my pocket, take out all of the worldly possessions and put them one side, you know. Then turn to the east, take off my false crown, where I did have on, and turn to the east now and make I Trinity and the priest lead I and I in a little short prayer, giving thanks to I man travels and I man guidance coming in and, you know, give thanks and welcome I and support and so on. After the prayer, you know, the word was sent to the father that I was there visiting the camp. And the father sent forward him love and said, I free and I can move through and, you know, observe the camp and interact with ones and ones. So I free up and move through and meet ones and I heal up ones and ones. I am pure grey beard elder with some long beard and some long knot, some big turban and, you know, from man, woman and child was dreadlocks. Everyone up the dreadlocks, which was new to I, which was a phenomena to I. See, you know? So it was a moment, and the man him speak so humble, you know, and exhibit so much love. You know, every man offer you something. You know, even if you have one slice of bread, the man have him offer you half of it. See, it was just a moment of a divine moment, you know.
So, let me ask there a question, my lad. So, when you're forward in the guardhouse and they black that reverence, Zane with the priest, the concept, what you did have in your head about the black heart man, how did that make you feel afterwards? Because when they start move through now, the whole psychological fear where they driving about the black heart man supposed to diminish now.
Well, from I go through the arch, you know, them things they never even reach forward in my mind because, you know, start reasoning the ones and it became clear that the black heart man was real. They were the black heart man. And no man never denied that. And it was obvious that they were the black heart man, you know, because it's the black heart man carry the love for humanity. We not deny, you know, even though they wanted to make it something derogatory.
Yeah, that is it. That is it, my lord, because
I never hold it. Black supremacy is why I aren't saying. What I mean by black supremacy. And I mean love I self first. The black heart man was just a loving man who loved Africa and Africans. So he was labeled the black heart man. And when I enter the camp, I see the love for Africa and the ways of Africa and the divine way of the ancient African, not just the regular thing the way the man they show up on TV, some man with bone through them nose and have some big pot of cook some people in there and call them cannibal and all them things. No, this was the divine African is whom he say. See? So the concept of the black heart man transformed itself right away. And I realized, yes, the black heart man, but what Babylon I interpret the black heart man to be is not what they are.
natural.
Them love them blackness, them Africanness, you know, them culture, and them defend them culture and live them culture, because we weren't a Sunday or a Sabbath alone worship. See, in Rastafari kind of word, liberty. It was I and I, liberty. What that mean? 24/7, it cannot be separated from I and I. It's not just when I and I go in at the tabernacle. See, I and I, divine self.
Always.
And I don't separate from I and I, divine self. From I and I, Christ consciousness was awakened, and I, third eye was open. And I don't shut it forward and go back to sleep. And I stand up within that divine consciousness. And that is what I saw, a village of divine people. Now, we're not talking about perfect people, you know. That is what religion wants to teach you. See, no, we're not talking about no perfect people. We're talking about humans who were disciplining themselves to live a principled life, to separate themselves from the ways of the world, You understand? The ways of material world where everything is a competition and everything is undermining one another to achieve something. You know, the whole Babylon concept of materialism is what I man see the man them separate themselves from. And they were self-sustaining, hard-working. Because from the Sabbath, go down 6 o'clock, Saturday evening, you see the man them hit the broom field. And the man them would up on the broom field till a morning and make broom and mat. And the sandals man, them a carve out them sandals. And the roots man, them a boil up them roots. We go hustle. And by Sunday morning, Monday morning, the man them hit the street, but do them hustling, make them little change so them can maintain themselves. Now, differently from that, I have to maintain the camp. The camp need wood because a universal kitchen provide for everyone. If it's one slice of bread, it cheer up for the camp. So that universal kitchen now need energy, need fuel. So it need wood because wood and I did use them time there. See, so I have to go look wood for the kitchen. I have to go look water because we never have no standing pipe in the camp.
So when did I start living at the camp, my lord?
Well, from I go through the gate that day there in a bridge, and I no stop go forward until I left school. You know, I used to go forward every Sabbath, go keep Sabbath until I left school. Now, when I left school, I just go straight up there, go reside.
Rastafari, see.
Yeah, from I meet the father, I left him. You know, I make trad and trad because I'm a world citizen. So man make trad all over earth, but man never leave them yard, you know, never leave them camp. Always return to the camp. So during them early periods there, I'm gonna go in, go keep I Sabbath every Friday evening, leave out either Sunday or Monday morning, and see if to go forward at school. So, you know, so I give thanks that I was able to meet some of the real divine Rastafari. Not like where you see today where everybody dreadlocks and everybody call one another Rassan. It's just a free title given to anyone with the ear. No, them man we talk about was some man where them live it. Them face down Babylon every day. Every time them leave out of the camp, them in danger. And them walk without fear. See, because the Bubba man is known to walk through Jamaica, selling him broom no matter where. See, that's why I become some of the greatest walkers. See, because you have time when I walk all from Bullbay to Kingston when bus now run. See, we go bungle a broom on our shoulder, go in a Kingston again and go walk around in a Kingston for the whole day and sell the broom. And catch some of the time is the last bus I go to Bullbay and I go back in a Bullbay. So like I say, I go in at the camp, I move to, before I leave that the first day, you know, I get to meet the father. Father come out in palace and him come out with a picture of the Black Christ with the cross. And him show I the picture, introduce I to the picture and say, this is him. This is where him stand for. This is who he is. See, and him come to fulfill the works of the Honorable Prophet Marcus Garvey. Well, Marcus Garvey started, him come to finish it, which is the work of nation building, preparing the people to return home to the continent of Africa, from which we were forcefully taken. So when the man give I all of them words sound there and show I the picture, when I look on the picture and I look on the man, no man can't tell I say, no, Christ, this I see Rasta. See, the same way Revelation describe it, you know, the ancients of ever living days with the precepts of, you know, white as wool and, you know.
So, all right, my lord. Me hear what I say. See? So, because if the father show the eye this picture, right, would his presence now before the eye at that time would be the second forwarding of the man? Because he must show you a picture where him that them crucify pan the picture.
Well, there are many Christ, you know. And on a second and third thing, you know, and many Christ, you know. There's a book by a brother named Graves. We talk about the 16 crucified saviors. Okay. Christ is an office. is not an individual, see, unlike how religion come teach you. See, and ones can do them own internal check and do them own research and try to over the concept where I'm gonna go try to share right. Christ is a title, it's not a name. See, Jesus, as the man them come term it, where Babylon called Jesus, was a name of a one who fulfilled that office at that time. See, but Moses was a Christ. Elijah was a Christ. See, and many Christ, what Christ mean? The man who come and make the sacrifice to bring the message of salvation to I and I. And that sacrifice was a self-sacrifice because him know say in bringing this concept of Christ to the people, to the masses, to the downtrodden, his life would be sacrificed. His life would be at risk.
Mm-hmm.
See, and you have many of I and I ancient matriarchs and patriarchs were murdered because of their liberty. See, that's the Christ concept. That's why the man say, I'm awake on the Christ spirit within I and I. See, so it's for all man for try to attain that Christ-like demeanor. I don't know one man thing that a religion come teach you them thing. See, if you look out of yourself and, you know, if you are see just one man as that divine, and that one man is eliminated, removed off of the earth, then you're that means that your God remove, you know, that concept dead. You shackle them now, you know, your mentality shackle because the one where you there look to as your redeemer, your savior, seeing him get crucified upon a cross, him no longer walking in our earth. So that whole understanding, that one liberty, seeing would be dead with that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the man come and show us, no man, like the Father, like the Son. The Father and the Son is one. Saying, so him say, him a show I and I say, so he is, so I and I must be. He is divine, I and I also must be divine. See, anything that the emperor, see, achieve within his discipline is there for everyone to achieve. Anything that King Emmanuel achieved, and that is what he taught I and I. See, him taught I and I to look within I and I self. One of the concepts when teach I and I is that greater is in man than what is in the world. Greater is in I and I than what is in the world. Him say the answers that we are looking for, that is not written in any book, is in man. See,
Internal.
so him a teach I and I that all I and I is the same. And if I and I would have hold on upon that concept there, it wouldn't have the kind of violence we have in our earth right now and the kind of corruption and the death and the, you know, the whole arms house that is taking place amongst the suffering masses. The black on black crimes that we see going on throughout America and all places where we are seeing, because we have to try achieve a little bread. Your brother become your enemy. See, one man named PMP, one man named GLP, one man named Republican, one man named Democrat, and all of these names are these titles are descriptions that we assign to ourselves. When all I and I is one father and one mother children. King Alpha and Queen Omega, we are one father and mother children. See? And what I and I is supposed to do is move within a unis. The man is much the kind of a phrase, collective security. See? And it come to what we determine now as continental unity. That is what the OAU was formed to create, continental unity, where we would sit at a table and identify the things we have in common and work with each other, building that. And the things that we have as differences, we would put them aside and deal with them accordingly, because the petty differences that we have, you know, are minor. We face the same enemy. We face the same predicament. When the rain fall upon every man rooftop, when the hurricane blow from you in it part, you're going to be affected by it, whether you is Rastafari or whatever. See? So we are all one people. And that is the concept. The reason why race has become so important and the color of a man's skin is because Babylon make it so. So now InI is forced to defend InI family and InI nation because Babylon set up this thing where they want to eradicate African people of color, so them can control all the resources of the earth. Not knowing say, it's them own parents them want to eradicate because civilization came down the Nile. The first ones, scientists, not InI now, you know, them same Eurocentric scientists with their higher education have determined that humanity originated from one mother source, them called the African Eve. All humanity that you see today come from one mother source, the African Eve, the black woman. The black woman can give life to any nation, but no other nation can give life to the black people, to the black mother. What I mean by that, a black man can deal with a white woman and she give him back a mixed youth, she give him back a youth with sometimes white. You know, all kind of blends. But you see a black woman, a Chinese man will lay with a black woman and get back a Chinese youth. When you look upon him as Chinese, you say, same thing with a white man or any other race, ethnicity. Lay with a black woman and them get back their own. See, because she is the mother of them all. That's the science behind that. And that little phrase that I grew up a year. So out of the black woman, come it all, but no one can bring the black woman. See? So we're saying all of that to say that all of this, where we see in the earth, begin right there on the African continent amongst the African Eve. And it has been distorted, seen by some envious people, seen some, what you call, ones that morphed from Africanness into their Caucasian state. Why? It was a set of Africans that were migrating out of Africa, you know, got caught in the Great Ice Age. And they took refuge in the caves of the Caucasus region. And when the Ice Age was over and them emerged from the cave, they had lost the pigmentation of them skin. Now, if anyone knows science, if you send a black man go live up in Alaska or Siberia for over a certain period of time, and him having youths up there too, when you go see him after a couple decades, it's a different species of human you're going to see. Him squirrely here, I got thin out. Him skin I got become light. It's a evolution because of the region where you find yourself, you know. See, so out of that come the Caucasian race. See, so the African is the mother and the father of creation, and that is why InI come see the black heart man, see, not being a negative thing, you know, as Babylon want to put it, but the black heart man is the foundation of life, because out of darkness come light, you know, not out of light come darkness.
So the reasoning that a lot of people ask that question, yeah. Zane, if Europeans can be Rastafari or even Bobo Shanti, then a lot of people ask that question there, Zane. But what the I view, because I hear it where you say about the black woman is the mother, Zane, so everyone come through that. But there is still like theories out there about Neanderthals and connecting Neanderthals with Europeans. Zane?
Like I say, it's evolution. You know, through migration, you end up in different regions, and then those regions become known by you or assigned to you, like the Asian them and Asia. You know, the Europeans and Europe, you know, that come through migration. But answer the question, your specific question, if other ethnicities can be Rastafari.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you see, Rastafari is a liberty. And if I say that Haile Selassie I and Empress Menen Asfa are the Godheads, God no partial, you know. And I now get caught up in a religious dogma. See, God no partial. Everyone can hear Haile Selassie I. Him is God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that don't mean say everyone can be Rastafari, the African movement. You know. Now, what do I mean by that now? It's a ticklish question, so I'm gonna try address it the best way I can without being offensive to anyone. I'm not trying to be offensive, and this has nothing to do with racial discrimination or anything like this. We are going for historical facts on one science. Rastafari, as a movement of people or a nation of people, came up or was conceptualized because of the oppression of Babylon, the oppression of the Europeans, and I, the brutality that was done to I through the transatlantic slave trade, and then now following emancipation, the colonization era. See? So it rises up as a resistance to colonialism. So if a movement rise up amongst demographics of ones, see, for a specific purpose, the African was defending their Africanness and their right to be a human and not 3/5 of a human, see, and their right, their sovereignty, you know, their equality, their humanity. Now, the Caucasian race never lose that, you know, them never lose, no one never try to take away that from them, you know, like they try to take away that from I, the African. See, nor did the Chinese, you know, or what they call the Asians, or any other ethnicity outside of the African. They have not gone through the predicament that the African has gone through. And the Rastafari movement came up directly as a result of that. So you can be a Rastafari sympathizer. You can hail the emperor all you want. You can hail the empress. You know, you can wear your red, gold, and green as a tribute and honor to the culture. You know, you can grow your hair however you want to grow your hair because you're here. But Rastafari, see, the resistance movement and the defense for African people is African. Is African without apology. So as Bobo, here with the Congress name, you know, these things, you know, people look at clearly. What the Congress name? The Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress.
Mm-hmm.
It was named that way to define itself, you know. The man say him come to rise up black people, put them back to them rightful position because we were forcefully taken from our position amongst the human family. See? So now, that don't mean say a man can see the liberty and see the liberty right and divine and want to live it, you know. I can't tell a man not to live it. But you see the inner sanctum, the leading of the charge, you know, the leading of this liberation struggle, it has to be led by Africans. Just like how Marcus Garvey defined it, Africa for the Africans at home and abroad.
Yeah, I was just like I said, but Marcus did never in the thing where him go let in any other nation in the UNIA, see, because the fear of infiltration still.
And just where Reech way, you know, when them infiltrate them deviate from our original mission. See, now these approaches and these organizations only remain relevant as long as racism continues, as long as other races decide not to come to the human table and accept the African as human too. See, then it makes I stand relevant. But when humanity come back to itself and know say is one people and the creator is one and we are just passing through the earth here, we are a spiritual people having a human experience, see, then that becomes irrelevant. But it's still relevant today. That's why we're having this conversation right now and we're defining it right now. Because the last 2 years, the global movement called Black Lives Matter have brought that home to people who was trying to go on like, nah man, me don't know them thing there. Me get my education and me make money and me have my big house too and my car too and thing. Yeah, but when them say even the big liar, where them the Dabanya, where the name again, get pulled over and I'm Rolls Royce, seen as a black man. And when the police boy pull him over, the police boy nigga him up same way. And he was the one of the big liar them with did fight for OG. I can't remember his name now, but same way them nigga him up same way and the man had on him double-breasted suit in him Rolls Royce with him briefcase on him front seat as a big attorney. We own one of the biggest law firm out in the LA region there. See, so it brought home the reality that no matter how high you climb as an African, these people still don't see you as equal. So the struggle is not over until it's over. Like them say, it's not over till the fat lady sing. It's not over till it's over. And the struggle for black people is far from being over. Because until them allow I for govern I own affairs, see, for build I own heaven, you know, which is I continent, see, and to govern I continent with the principles that serve us best and not the principles that they want to enforce on us, see, then the struggle is over. And that's why today these organizations and defining Rastafari as an African movement is important. Now I man have Rastafari bridging from all different walks and different ethnicities, you know. Indigenous Rastafari from different ethnicities. Now them are my brethren and them live it and them is divine man same way. But if them true to themselves and true to them reality, them know. Because I'm going to use an example. I'm one of a brethren back in the day named Ikang. Ikang was he's a reggae performer, artist from Jamaica, seen coming out of the 70s, the Bob Marley era and thing. Ikang is a man, him do an interview, show me like a half Chinese or, you know, whatever kind of Chinese, but him still have, you know, African blood in him. But him is visibly, you know, infused with the Asian blood. And being fair to himself and fair to the liberty. In an interview, I can say, well, while him is Rastafari and love him bridging them and him bridging them far and thick, and when the time comes to go home Africa, he would have loved make the child with them just to come know the continent and know, you know, the liberty. Him say him knows a film navel string cut a Asia. So he's being realistic. That don't say him can't come live in Africa amongst I, you know, and be accepted as a human and be treated as a human. See, but what he's saying by that statement is that him not try for thief I birthright.
Mm-hmm.
Him acknowledge I birthright and the right to be who I is. Now, if we check the Jewish people, for them secret society called the protocols of elders. See, no outsider can join that, you know, not going to be allowed to join that and to be part of them inner sanctum. No matter how you are accepted as a black Jew and all of that, you can only visit visit the synagogue and pray and them thing there. you are not going to be allowed into the holies of holies, come sit down amongst them and, you know, when them a plan them strategies of survival and them strategies of ruling and whatever. See, them do that amongst themselves. See, and it's the same thing I say. I say the man and man can come chant amongst I and interact with I and we're not brothers of from another mother or whatever. But the African struggle has to be led by the African. And Rastafari is the vanguards of the African struggle. See? So it must be led by Africans and defined by Africans and determined by Africans. See? So that is the concept of black supremacy according to the Rastafari.
Rastafari. My lord. Yes, Bobo. Yeah, it's interesting, cause you know, being a Black Power movement, you know, and you know, one of the forerunner of the movement itself, you know, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who said, boy, you know, him couldn't allow that still, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it was a man who did go check the Ku Klux Klan and even say, boy, him like the way how them the concept then them thing, you know what I mean, where them see race first and not the mingling and thing. So, you know, the whole thing now, cause when we look at Bobo Shanti, you know, and we look within the Congress itself now, as I described a while ago, you will still have a lot of people outside of Jamaica, like you know, Argentina, probably Chile, Peru, and these different places where you will see a lot of white people then that you know, all in the order of Bobo Shanti.
And it's not just white people, because Chileans aren't white. Chileans are indigenous to them region. Chileans are just Chileans. You understand? And that's one thing because I have Chilean brethren and we have this conversation several times. See, I support them because them fighting for justice, equal rights, but them not fighting for the same thing I fighting for. Because them never lose what I lose. I lose I identity. I lose I spirituality. I lose I land. See, I lose everything, even humanity. You understand? No man know, they didn't lose that. While them being oppressed by the status quo, by the unjust Babylon system, because Babylon is the definition for Babylon is an oppressive system. See, and it's defined by the prison industrial complex system that we see running the world. See, they are facing the same enemy on that level, but the fight is not for the same justice or the same realities that we fighting for. See, they intersect, because we also lost, you know, we're oppressed the same way that they are being oppressed, and used the same way they are being used to be a labor force for the system. See? So within all of that, we still share that commonality. See? But our struggle is not identical. See? What the African, the dark hued skin, the melanated people go through is not what the other rest of ethnicities have gone through. See? Just like back in the day when they had this woman suffrage movement. Kind of was led somewhat by Sylvia Pankhurst, who eventually moved to Ethiopia. She and our son, Richard Pankhurst. And they did a lot in Ethiopia to help Ethiopia to advance itself. You know, they they taught at the university, and they did a lot of things. They created the fight for women to get more recognition and all of that and all of that. But at the same time, that still was not the black woman's struggle.
Right.
Saying what the black woman lost was much more than what that struggle was calling for. See, so it's just those things we have to identify. We're not trying to segregate ourselves, you know, and we're not trying to demean anyone, you know. See, this is not something, it's not an indictment against other ethnicities, you know. We love our indigenous brethren and sisters everywhere. I man have Mexican Rastafari brethren who hail Rastafari, and I understand their struggle, and they understand InI struggle. But InI have to know that while we fighting for certain things that are similar, the African struggle is still a different struggle. As an indigenous man will come, an indigenous person to a region, say a Chilean, him can't talk about him want to go back to his fatherland, you know. Him want to go home African, because he wasn't taken away. He never did leave out Africa, he wasn't forcefully taken out Africa. Him rise up right to him, them can trace back him lineage, how much generation right in that landmass.
All right. Let me ask you this, priest. So, a European priest was crowned and given the title of ambassador at one point in the Congress. What did they made of that manifestation?
Yeah, I feel I've allies in the struggle. And, you know, that situation has been blown way out of proportion. Now, once to ask, what was the mandate given to him when he was allowed to walk or represent some aspect of InI liberty? What was the mandate given to him? The father said, theme thing is to learn from InI, what InI plight is, seeing what has been forcefully taken from InI, what has been refused InI, seeing, and him need to now, after him learn, you know, what the African situation is. His duty now is to go among his people and to defend the right of the African. That was his mandate, you know, to go back amongst his own people, go teach them the truth and make them know, say, just like how Prince Edward did go back to King George after going to school with His Majesty and visiting Ethiopia and seeing firsthand what His Majesty was defending. Prince Edward went back to Prince George and said, yo, you need to free the people, African people. You need to ease up the judgment off of them, the oppression off of them, and give them back them justice. And the father said, according to the stories now, it could be folklores, it could be, but this is the stories that InI grew up a year. When father, King George said, then who I got tend to a garden? Who I got serve with? Saying, who I got build with empire for we? Same can't do that. So you know what, history now prove this, and this is fact, everyone can read about this. Prince Edward is one of the first heir to the British throne or to the UK throne that abdicated his throne. Because him say if him father now go deal with the people them as humans and give them justice. Him no want a part of it. Because what him come learn from His Majesty and the love where him have for His Majesty, saying him couldn't defend that. So him abdicate the throne and say him no want a part of it. So, saying all that to say, that first Caucasian priest, that was our one and only Caucasian priest, that was given some form of, as a test case, to say, all right, I say no one come amongst InI, and I don't want to live this liberty and defend where we are defend. Well, this is where we are defend. And now that you know where we are defend, how you are going to support InI struggle? The only way you can support it is to go back away where you come from, go back to America, Europe, and become a force for I&I, become a John Brown, like the abolitionist John Brown who fought and died, Emmanuel family, for the liberation of the African slaves. See, you have to now go become a John Brown, a sympathizer, a supporter, and a defender. See,
so what within that, what he would have to do? He would have to rise up more ones like himself, Bill, Prophet and Priest.
Yeah, he would have to go spread the truth now and make it become popular, wherein, you know, eventually it would that what you call now, that movement would reach to the levels of government, wherein which government now would be forced, because their own people now is calling for it, seeing, would be forced to come to the negotiation table, seeing, and now sit with the African and discuss with the African, how can we repair the breach that we created? Seeing, yeah, them afraid because them think that we have to claim back everything and we have left them destitute. And I don't want a part of Babylon and them dainty desire. And I just want to be left alone for run with one things I am, for build with one empire, build with one societies, seeing, within the concept that serve I, you know, see, and not from their Eurocentric ways. Material don't mean what it means to I as what it means to them. Seeing, I put more interest and more value into people and into life and into nature than I put into materialism.
True, true,
Bobo. I want to build I continent and I societies, where people within the society value people, where we go back to the days of the African spirituality, where the elders, everything revolved around the elders, the matriarchs and patriarchs of the village. They were the one that guided the village with their wise minds, and it was always about the village. A child didn't just defend him mother house or whatever, you know. The village was them world. It's not like now when man fly all over the place, you know. Them days that the village was your world, so everyone within that village was very important to you, and you would fight and die for anyone in that village. We have to get back to them levels that I love, become our brothers and sister keeper again. We can't just continue on in this way that I come adapt. Because adapted we I come get, you know, this thing here where we cuss one another, and man call one another different name, and we always look for snipe one another. And no, Rasta, that wasn't the African way. When there was a dispute, I way was we don't make the sun set upon a dispute. And if the sun set upon it, we don't make a Sabbath set upon it. Because that would be a breach of your divinity. So when you and a man have a thing, your conscience and your spirit don't sit easy until you and him trash it out. Or a woman, whatever. You don't sit airy until you trash it out, which is not the way we rest today. Today we carry malice. We carry bad heart against our brethren. Things, something we're going on 20 years ago, you don't let it go. Because you never deal with it. There's no closure to it. See? And that is why black people suffering from post-traumatic slavery syndrome, because we have not got closure on the brutality and injustice that was meted out to us throughout all them centuries. So we are, every generation that born and they are compounded with the past pain bodies and the present pain bodies. Them don't just have the freedom to just deal with the present pain bodies and overcome them and be whole again, you know. There is unresolved pain bodies coming down through the generations, through InI genome. So more time you have all the youth and you wonder, how my youth move so? I'm not move like me and everything with me. And you wonder, no, there's whole unresolved issues in your bloodline that you don't even know about. You were maybe blessed or privileged or lucky for kind of be able to deal with it, because you come buck a elder where they open your third eye and rise your consciousness. See, so at them levels there of African healing, I need. I is the only people that is, after going through what we have gone through, 500 years of oppression, oppression, brutality, being prosecuted and persecuted for I skin color. See, that one say I need to get over it. You just need to get over it. Pull up yourself by your bootstraps. And I don't want the people told to do that. The Jewish people said they will never make the world forget the Jewish Holocaust. But I is told to get over I one. And all them lose was what? What them lose? 6 million people or something like that. How much? 300 million and counting Africans were murdered during the transatlantic slave trade. According to man like Kwame Ture and Ben Buchanan and John Henry Clark and them man there, saying them man they could get economists and get bigger brain than themselves, quantify it and really put the records in put the records right. And the man them says over 300 million Africans were murdered. Seeing, and them only lose 6 million or so, and them I say them nah go make the world forget it. So what about I? Until I get the justice and I people get closure, seeing, and we can get over this post-traumatic trauma from slavery, we will always be suffering the way we're suffering right now. We will always be having this black and black issues. See, this self-hate syndrome, this Willie Lynchism, crabs in a barrel mentality. The only way to get rid of that is to be healed, become whole again, to where you can rise and embrace your divinity once again.
Rastafari. Yes, Baba.
So I think I said the global liberty, and most man think say it's a little thing where every man come and just want to be priest and they want to mount an altar and they want to regurgitate the Bible and regurgitate some Sankey and solo him and them thing there. It's liberty deeper than that, you know. Saying Prince Emmanuel did have to set a foundation and set a tabernacle to draw the people them, because InI people them was so deep rooted in religion through slavery. See, so without setting a tabernacle, just like when Garvey did start the UNI here, eventually Garvey did have to involve a spiritual component in it too, because African people are naturally spiritual, and then over the years we have become religious because of our circumstance. So without setting a tabernacle setting, a church setting, you're not going to attract the people them. Just like the Sermon on the Mount, if Christ never did have the fishes and the loaves, you know, perform that miracle when feed how much with 5 fish and how much loaf. Seeing, you first have to feed the hungry man before you can tell him about God. Seeing, so the Father have to set a foundation where he can attract the people them for come get some spirituality, attend to them physical needs, fill them hungry belly, fill them need for word, sound and power, see, and then mold them forward into themselves to be Africans through word, sound and power. You know, I'm starting to teach her and I say, my lad, you are my lad. You know, see, she's an empress, she's a royal queen. She don't know boy, you don't know boy and she don't know girl. See, and I don't know kids you don't have because I know goat. See, it's prince and princess. See, and them thing the Prince Emmanuel have to come back and bring to I. You know, see, and it's not, and to be truthful, brethren, I don't know other elders I'm right up with the whole of the elder them. I never see no other elder define them things so. Seeing and really establish such a divine concept, seeing amongst I. Man and man call themselves Bongo, Congo, all kind of different things, and all of that is great because it's I word sound as Africans. Seeing, and those titles are great. The man them call like Jadoggy, and that is all great. Some man call like Congo Doggy, same way, that is all great. But it's Prince Emmanuel, I man say, King Emmanuel, I man say, come teach I say, yeah, my lord. See, that's when I man start watch karate show. And that's why I man see some man now come before them king and them emperor over in China there, and when them kneel before him and brush off them two and my lord. You know, I realize it's an ancient concept coming out of spiritual kinsman them. All spiritual kinsman, no matter which ethnicity, see, understand that you have to invoke the divinity in one another. See, for rise back good people. See, so it's that I do. That I come take away out of the Babylon concept where man I say, yo boy. That is a white man come give them title there. Yo girl. Them thing there's the meaning. And when we accept them thing there, we demean ourselves. Just like today we hear ones that call one another whore and bitch and all these things, nigger and all these things, and black people accept them thing there. Even black man call black man nigger. You know, see, man call him a woman bitch. That means say what? You're laid down with a bitch. That means your mother is a bitch and you're a son of a what? You know, these are the things that we have to get to from. We are kings and queens. We are prince and princess. The worst are way better than the best of them. Because we never create a scenario of evil that we come find ourselves under. When we did in our heavenly home, see, we were living like kings and gods. Because when the European them decide to come to Africa, come take away out Africa, what them say? Let's go down there and take those gods and goddesses and bring them come build and work for we. And we do it. We come and come perform a miracle. No other race was able to endure the kind of what we got through, the malaria and all the different diseases where we come go through, saying, and withstand it. And even prosper in it too, because black people breed up like cockroach. No matter what kind of pressure you put under, we still have youth. While most of the nation dead have the Chinese, them come out, them bring them as indentured laborers. And them have to change it out quick because them dead off, bam bam. Couple years and Chinese people them was dying like, because them couldn't take the pressure. But the African come endure unbearable, unimaginable pressure and still survive. See? So that's why them say them come take the gods and gods out of Africa. When Presta John, Stanley and Livingston come to Africa, come say them a search. When Alexander the Barbarian go in south there and raid Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria, and burn it down after him done. See? And because of what them see we succeeded in achieving, make them come there. When them come see pyramids and sphinx and obelisk, them come see what them call it, hieroglyphs. See? Them come see mathematical equation. Them come see science of the highest order. Them come meet a man called Hemotep, who was able to diagnose and prescribe and cure. See, right in Africa is where them discovered anesthesia and all them things there. And while Europeans were still dying in childbirth, I was able to save mother and child by just burning, what them call it, the word them use. Anyway, by stopping the bleeding, we found a method to stop the bleeding that the woman never hemorrhage out and die like what was taking place in Europe and around West. See, InI Africans learned that method long before them and taught it to them. See, so it's what them see InI achieve on the continent of Africa that make them come take InI, come build Europe, which we have done, and build Americas, which we have done. And then them turn around and say, the dark continent. Why them say it's the dark continent? Not because the sun shine. We have sunshine, 13 months of sunshine. But why is the dark continent? Because we never see materialism the way them see it. See, them say we're dark, we're simple. We use gold nugget catch the door. Saying we play what you call it, marble with diamond. So we never value them thing there. So them call we dark. What we valued was our ancient, our elders. Our elders meant the most to InI. In the African way of life, the elder was the most important person. Because he had the wisdom. Book learning can't replace experience.
No time.
And that is what the elders have. So when, so what them do with the elders in the first world countries, put them in a old age home. Put them in some place where people brutalize them and treat them inhumane because them claims that them whole once a man, twice a child. Instead of seeing the value of them and nurturing them and trying to keep them as healthy and as sane as possible so we can learn as much as we can from them before them transition, which is what the African do. Saying so I is different, brethren, from them. And this is no discrimination. This is science and reality. Iman is in America and Iman is trying to survive. But Iman art is not on the materialism of America. You know what? Why I am here? Trying to feed my family and maintain independence so I can continue to fight for rights and justice and truth. That is why I is here. If not, I would have go sit down on the banks of the Nile and easy and give thanks. But until all African is free, none of I is free. So I have to dip on the front line and fight for that freedom.
Most natural, my lad.
I is a different cut of bubble. See, I'm now come on the item program come talk about now. John say and Jeremiah say and Isaiah say and I'm a know I Bible back and front because I did that to know it. I started with 12 tribes, where 12 tribes say read a chapter a day. And we did that for much years. Saying, and then with that 24/7 was service. Service go up in the morning, service go up in the evening. Saying you had fasting service, you had service 24/7. But that was just to prepare your spirituality. Your spirituality is what fortifies you that you can fight the struggle that you have to fight. Them call it faith. See, that was just to reinforce I faith, that I have courage to I faith, to stand up against injustice. See, it's not to become Christians and to become fanatics, religious fanatics. See, but to empower I inner man, that I outer man have the courage to walk through the fiery furnace and not get burned.
Rastafari. I see a thing take place over the last couple of strands now. Out of Bulby era there, where a lot of killing and thing. I think it was last strong we saw a video where some police did say them surround the camp. What do I make of that situation? And what are some of the concerns where the I as an elder where you've been there from the age of 12, up until this time, what are some of the concerns what do I have about the Congress?
We see where there is no principle, you let down your guard. You understand? And that is what is happening. A house divided against itself can't stand. We must learn to agree to disagree. We must learn to have to be able to forge unity without uniformity. I is not members of a cult. See, we're not going to walk and talk exactly the same. Every man not going to see the thing the same way. We have to learn to respect one another's views and have conscious dialogue to come out with the right or the best approach to whatever the circumstances is. Right now, because there is no principle intact. You understand? There is no brotherhood and sisterhood. There is no structure. There is no authority. You understand? And it's not just Bobo. The mansions in general, because the founding fathers have transitioned. There is like a power void and there is a power struggle for that, to fill that void. And because of that power struggle, it's just like the concept said, a house divided against itself. Man and man end up dividing against themselves to try and garnish that power. So instead of glorifying, say, Priest Dougie was able to write this chronicle here, this book, you will have other Bobo who say, oh, yeah, who give them money them right, who the money, whatever. Instead of supporting something that supports them.
True.
See, we are taught these things, these self-hate acts, these suicidal acts is what we are taught, my brother. See, and that is what is affecting Bulby and Bobo Hill. When the father was there, no bad man no enter the camp, my lad. I man there and see police come. And the guard would have give up him life before him let in the police with him gun. And you wouldn't believe, say, a Rasta man with no weapon stand up in front of a battalion of police and I tell them, so no can't come in here with no gun here. This is a divine place. On no can't come in here, man, turn up on our foot and we say, no can't come in here with it. And eventually the man who will lead the raid say, yeah, what? On the stay out there, so I don't leave on a thing. We are going to go reason with the man them.
Serious.
And we see them thing there. We see them thing there. The man them we see forcefully coming at the camp with them gun, them police there, and a real police and a real people. As some zombie where the man them wind up and sent to come do some destruction. And again, while them could have entered the camp, them still couldn't do the destruction where them come to do. Because the power of principle, the power of righteousness, overcome that. And I see a brother named Piggy or Pokey or whatever I want to name, the red police boy, we come up there one time, come raid, and put the whole of it down from our belly out in the front yard. See? And what we come to understand after the whole thing go down is that them did send him to come kill Dada. Or to come do Dada harm. So him put it down from our belly, him take every man out in the front yard, put it down from our belly, and the father around there by himself now. So him and one of him henchmen said, them go around enough or deal with the father. See, in that time we run from the belly around there now, and we well want to get up to rush go around there for go stand up with the father, but you don't know. The man they not going to hesitate to put two bullets in eye and eye. So we down from our belly, and the guy go around there. But we know the power of a father, so we never really fear. We know the father either going to dismantle him with word sound or whatever. So we're around there. The guy go around. 2 toes, you see the guy a flyer come from around there. Him and him henchman fly past weed from our belly and the guy them were guard and then him call to them and say, come. And they must ask, Wagwan. Like them must say, Wagwan, Sarge, Wagwan. And Rasta, him say, him never say Rasta, him say, yo, me see a lion sit down on one step round there with one red eye.
Rasta.
Imagine our job manifest a vision, whatever it want to happen, I can't tell you what happened, and I now go preach no fable to the eye them or no imaginary story. I don't know what happened. I just tell you why go down. See, and I now make up nothing for try and make it no supernatural, nothing. The man say him see one lion round one Dada step, and him bolt. So him don't bother get to do the work when him come do. So while and these are the powers. We are shapeshifters in a virgin. We are shapeshifters. Seeing His Majesty was a grandmaster of Negromancy, seeing, and Kabbalah. Seeing this is the knowledge of knowing how to use nature, use the heights of science, seeing to protect yourself.
All right, Honorable Priest. Let me ask you this, because since the eye go right, that's why I know. See, there's been a little uproar or commotion the other day regarding a second visit. Zine, that Bobo said the Honorable King make a second visit to Prince Emmanuel, and ones are saying is something that didn't happen, different from the visit that took place in 62. 66, pardon. What did I as an honorable priest who did it, was there a second visit? Because it's something where, as I say, it got out there and a lot of people ridicule that it didn't happen. Nothing like that never go on. And I like Bobo.
I would have ridiculed too, I would have ridiculed too if you can't produce no evidence, If you can't produce no evidence, no factual evidence, then, I would have ridiculed too, in the sense that there is no record of a foreign plane landing at any airport in Jamaica at that time. The visit what I'm talking about, them say it took place in 1970. I can tell you the date and all of that. See? Because I did and I hear the story them too, and then I go check out the reality for myself as well. See? All right. Like I said, there was no record anywhere that says the emperor made a journey out of Ethiopia to the Caribbean at that time. No, that don't mean it never happened,
True.
Like we say, all kind of spiritual things happening on earth, through the power of science.
Yeah, I did talk about necromancy a while ago, where the king is.
Right, so that ones don't over. Anyway, but this is what I would rationalize and share with the listeners them. Seeing, because I've seen it. I've seen several Africans over the years visit Bobo Hill, and we have all kind of man come up with sounds. Boy, the man there, His Majesty come back, His Majesty make up all kind of. We're looking for Shiloh, and we're looking for Shiloh. Every little man will come through that have a link to Africa and Ethiopia. We want to brand him, or we would love him to be that Shiloh. There was a guy, a brother will come through named Major Lingua, seeing, and he had some man in a camp that all worship him even more than all them would have said them worship the king. Because them believe, say it was the king come forward and all of these things. Now, a delegation did come check the emperor, did come check that. A delegation came to check that a delegation that was passing through Jamaica. Seeing, I wasn't there, so I can't tell you if it was an Ethiopian delegation or the delegation had Ethiopians in it or what state of Africa these ones came from. But it was man and man who didn't know, didn't have nothing, because Dada didn't share nothing with them. Dada didn't tell nothing, Dada didn't call the house and say this and that and that and that happened. Because certain things that transpire that Dada have to deal with is not necessarily something that he shares with the whole congregation. There are certain governmental negotiations and interaction that transpire with the father. That is just within the father circle. That knowledge abide. See? So a delegation visited the father, ones and ones, say it was the emperor. See? But like I said, there is no record that proves that the emperor left Ethiopia at that time and visited the Caribbean, landed in Jamaica anywhere. See? That is as far as I can give upon that. I know of the mythology, the allegory, whatever you want to call it, but I have never seen or heard anyone that can give me definitive proof that it was the emperor. Now, again, I don't say it never happened, because when the emperor and the father did meet, they were speaking in tongues unknown to ones and ones around them. And I never hear Dada speak American. But that is what the recount was given, said that when the father accepted his medal and interacted with the emperor, they overheard the father and the emperor speaking in an unfamiliar tongue. So there are many things that transpire that without the father being here to tell you the exact account of it, will remain a mystery. One can build stories around it, folklores around it, if they so choose, for whatever reason. But for I man right now, I know say the relationship that Dada had with the emperor was a personal one. Dada was respected by the emperor for the work with the emperor, for the work that him Dada do.
True.
Was honored with a medal, but not only with a medal, that's why there was constant communication that took place between the throne and Bobo Hill.
Rastafari.
As far as Iman can go with it, Iman is not the kind of ones. You see, my concept and my opinion and my way, I don't have to add nothing to that life story to make him any greater, Time work speak for itself. I wouldn't have to add nothing to the emperor and no titles and try to find him in the Bible and all of that to prove who he was, or who he is, Because him work stand for itself. The man say, if you don't know me for my words, you do me for my works. If you don't know me for my works, then listen to my word. And the man, them word and works stand for itself. See, so I now got add no myth or no allegory or nothing to what I know as truth and fact, unless I have proof. No belief, or opinion, or interpretation, but fact. See, so that's why man would have leave that one there.
Rastafari. All right. The I is a part of a organization, if I can call it that, the Rastafari New Faculty of Overstanding.
Yeah, but let me stop you right there. Iman is not a member of no organization. Iman is a member of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress as a priest. And it's not an organization. I never joined it to be a member of an organization either. Iman is a priest of the order of Melchizedek. Iman is part of a committee of ones, some seasoned Rastafari activists within the movement, and it's a diverse group, because within it you have attorneys, you have ones with specific skill sets, and then you have the grassroots activists like myself. Okay, that don't really have no title behind them name except Iman is a priest. That's the only title, and it's not really a title, it's who I am. I was born a priest. See, because you have to have that character, you have to have that spirit within you. It is a calling, it is not something that is learned. See, so it's not really a title for I and I. See, so I'm not a title behind my name, but I am part of a committee called the African Rastafari New Faculty of Overstanding. And what the initiative is that we came together because we realized, and everyone realized and observed, that the Rastafari voice has been silent for the past couple of decades since the elders them start to transition, especially certain mega elders, So the movement has become stagnated. It is called the Rastafari movement. It's a nation of people where they're on a move from lowland to highland. And we stop go up the hill. We're stuck somewhere in between. And when we realize that, it's I and I generation time now in the seat of the elders. I and I are the elders of the movement today. I and I who have been in the movement 40, 50, 60 years, we find ourselves as the elders today. So being an elder within the church, or being elders within the church, I and I usually always work together on different projects, initiatives, and realize that the movement itself wasn't benefiting from I and I individual successes and works. So I and I decided now to come together, devote some time and some resources to analyzing I and I trad, to see if our mission today is still in line with the mission, the original mission of the founding fathers. Seeing, to see if freedom, redemption, international repatriation is still the objectives that INI is trying to achieve. So we sat down as a group, ones from different mansions, you know, you have stalwart Nyabingi or stalwart theocratic assembly members. You have stalwart Bobo Ashanti members, you know, sisters, empresses like Empress Marina Blake, you know, Bobo like Prophet Daniel, like R.H Priest Dougie, you know, and we have others that work from the sideline, not so much upfront within the committee, but they assist INI where we need help, you know, within the mission. So now these seasoned set of ones came together and we sat down and we dissect everything. We looked at documents, we looked at historical facts, we looked at resolutions that came out of different conferences, you know, we looked at all 9 yards. And we sent out a questionnaire globally to ones and ones to fill out and return. Portion was returned. We also had individual dialogues, and then we also had webinars. When the pandemic started, we realized that we had to change our approach. So we held a series of webinars with different panels, you know, like seven people on a panel, 5 to 7 people on a panel, different ones from different walks of life, different skill sets, dealing with different topics. You know, we had a panel with just doctors dissecting our medical situation, our health and wellness situation as Rastafari. We had attorneys speaking to the legalities that face us in trying to achieve our justice. We had social workers talking about, you know, our pain bodies and how to heal them and so forth and so on. We had all kinds of professionals chime in on this reasoning. And out of all of that, you know, we set up what you call a draft committee with a set of ones who have the skill sets, the legal skill sets, the literary skill sets, seen to draft a document, you know, what we call a declaration. Just like how you have the United Nations Human Rights Charter, which is a declaration, we came together and we drafted a declaration. See, we call it the Rastafari Universal Declaration, okay, which will help to codify INI liberty, which was not done before. What we mean, again, as Rastafari, most, if not every group like INI, them have a constitution, them have a document, a manifesto, something that declares who they are, their principles, them way of life, all of that. Indelibly written, so that generations to come will know and have that to refer to. See, INI liberty has been left to the interpretation of anyone. That's why the white and black issue become a problem. Because, like I said, there is no problem with other people healing Rastafari or healing the emperor and the empress. See, but we did not create a collaborative process in which we sat down with these other ethnicities and defined how we would work together, how we would complement one another, what they could do to assist INI without taking over INI movement and creating it into something else, which is what was happening, you know, creating this one love movement versus the equal rights and justice movement, which it is. See, so now we drafted this declaration, which is just been completed over the last couple of weeks, and it will be launched on the 23rd next Friday, during InI celebrative moment, the Emperor Earth Day. We'll be doing the launch in the morning so we can have the rest of the day for our celebrations. It will be a program, a whole ceremony, because to the kind of document, to the scope and value of the document, it has to be presented properly in the public space, to represent the value of it. So we will be creating a program in which we will launch it in the public space. Now, first of all, for Rastafari, for all Rastafari to have access to. Now, secondly, for the mansions, them to have access to and to go through, and whatever we have overlooked or whatever needs to be, retermed or, whatever, ones will have it now to make those suggestions. And if those suggestions are valid, then we will revise the document, amend the document, and have the document for the world going forward into the future. So the future generations can have this document. It's a 13-page document that tells them exactly what was the original mission, how it was approached, who we are, what our principles and liberty is. See? And this is not mansion specific, nor it is more ethnic specific in the sense that it is being drafted from an African Rastafari perspective,
yes,
and not from the global Rastafari family, where the other ethnicities who have embraced the liberty. See? But from an African Rastafari perspective. See? Now, as we evolve, we will have to develop another document that is now inclusive of all other ethnicities that have embraced Rastafari. Because like I said, we can't stop no one from living the divine liberty, But we need to draft out how it's going to work. The do's and the don'ts, the privileges and the rights. See? So this is the first document which covers the African Rastafari liberty. See? And as I say, a second document will have to be drafted that includes the global family and how that will function. See, that is going to take some time because that needs to be negotiated. We need to sit down with our other ethnic brothers and determine the process. See? So like I said, this will be launched on the 23rd. We'll send out the link. Flyers is being sent out now on social media and so forth. And I would love everyone that can participate in the ceremony to participate in it, because the document will be read and explained by the legal minds and other minds that will be taking part in the ceremony. And it's very important. This is a document that is all-encompassing for the African Rastafari. It never existed before. It is long overdue. It will assist both in areas of where children are being, refuse schooling because of their lacks and their culture, see, where ones are being discriminated against in the workplace because of their way of life, where in prison, while ones are incarcerated for whatever reason, as Rastafari, or even ones in prison that have, while in prison, come embrace the Rastafari liberty and want to live their liberty. See, this document will assist in that, because a lot of time we get called by different chaplains from around the world, see, asking us for documentation and that would explain to them the Rastafari way of life, so they would know how to minister to the inmates that they have in their facility, So this is a very important document, Rasta. It will be also entered into the archives of the African Union, that all nation states will have access to it to familiarize themselves with who Rastafari is, and not not learn about Rastafari from the internet and from the stereotype vibe. Man would just smoke ganja and chant reggae music and whatever. No, Rastafari is way deeper, way higher than that. Seeing much more in scope and content than that. So this document will help to establish that. See, and it represents every Rastafari, man, woman, and child, no matter what mansion he comes from or align himself with.
Rastafari, yes, my lord. Give thanks. And before the eye move, I just want the eye to shed a little light on Virgin Jabulani, Rastafari.
Yeah, well, Jabulani, I'm a big brother. And I've been traveling for many years. Jabulani Tafari is known worldwide for his works. He was the first Rastafari on television anywhere, just like how Ras Miguel Lam was the first Rasta lawyer within the bar that graduated from the bar and has represented Rastafari in many areas. Ras Jabulani started his career at GABC, Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation, one of the first television stations in Jamaica. He at one point he was running the newsroom. He's an accomplished journalist, author. I call him a wordsmith, because without him, the book here wouldn't be the book that it is, because while I compile the history and the events and all of that, he's the one that makes it flow and makes it speak the way it's supposed to speak. He's the editor, He also is the editor for the Roots Reggae and Culture magazine for near 2 decades now. One of the only standing magazine, hard copy magazine that has, survived into the 21st century. And he's an author. He wrote the book, The Rastafari View of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, as a Garvey student, So he's well acclaimed. He also produced a film back in the time of apartheid called Inside South Africa that is critically acclaimed, won many awards at different film festivals around the world. As a matter of fact, it was a film that helped Jabulani to tour the globe, because he went many places because of that film, showing that film and touring with that film. So that is Jabulani in a nutshell, a very serious Pan-Africanist, a hardened worker, a very wise individual, and very simple, Yeah. I'm a big brother, like I say. Give thanks, Iron sharpen iron. Without that man in my life for many years, I don't think I would be as sharp as I am. Not saying that I am sharper than anyone else. I'm just saying, for I as an individual, I would not be as sharp as I am, because I can bounce sound off the Virgin, and the Virgin can bounce sound off I. And as a man that is very versed in knowledge, it helped to increase our knowledge also. And he's also an editor of many books, He worked among Baba Dudley Thompson, Pan-African ambassador. He was the one that did his biography, his biography, which for a man of that stature, the great Pan-African ambassador, that, when he enters, when the Africa Hall is in session with all the heads of states of the African continent there, and he enters the hall, everything stops, and they announce that the great ambassador is in the place. A man like that have access to all kind of writers and all kind of journalists, but he chose Jabulani to compile his biography. So that tells you, that speaks volume of who Ras Jabulani is. So again, everyone need to get a copy of this book, not because I want to sell some book, but because the value of this book, This book tell you about the founding fathers, but it also tie in the culture of Rastafari, because it tell you about Garvey and the part Garvey played, It gives you information and history on Garvey that is not prevalent in most places. You know, a lot of it coming from Baba Julius Garvey, who is one of our InI mentors, and his brother who recently passed on, Garvey Jr., who we were intimately involved with over the years. So this book also speaks in depth of the emperor and empress's role. You know, it also speaks of the early street corner meetings and camp yard days. So it gives you a whole heap of insight into the Rastafari liberty from a realistic, revolutionary standpoint, not from a religious standpoint, and not from no mansion standpoint. See, because while I man is a Bobo Ashanti priest, every mansion is I brethren. I no partial. See, I support every mansion in their endeavor to be positive and productive and part of this movement here. Whether you is a Bingi, 12 Tribe, School of Vision, House of Dread, you know, whatever you want to align yourself with, I see I myself as part of that fullness same way. So I am partial in telling the history as the history is. And that's why I was privileged to sit at these elders' feet, because I never segregate myself and just stick to I mansion. See? So this book is all inclusive and would be a very good teaching tool for ones who want to educate them family. Even in schools and colleges, if ones who want to write them thesis or want to do research on Rastafari, this is a tool, again, written in a modern language, you know, where people can over, you know, more than some of the books that were written and part, you know, folklore, part, whatever.
And where people can find it now?
Well, for right now, we are working on the virtual part of it, to put it on Amazon and those other virtual distributors. But for the hard copy right now, which is where it's at right now at this point, one can contact Roots Foundation at gmail.com for, you know, any information, you know, to purchase it. Or one can call I, you know, at the Roots headquarters, 754-264-2205. That's 754-264-2205. And I will work out how to get the book in their hands. You know, there's a website being constructed right now to deal with the distribution of it too, the hard copy. But like I say, it will also be on Amazon and other virtual stores.
True.
That you can purchase it, you know.
True.
We intend to do a book tour as well to try and visit the different regions. So we have a call up a man like the you know, and certain ones, you know, Rascas and them ones in London, the UK, for help identify some locations and some you know, some ones who will facilitate and I fit into those regions to disseminate the book. And I will be touring the Caribbean with it, you know, especially where the Rastafari strongholds exist. You know, and everywhere, not just because everyone needs to know the truth. It not, you know, and not just for one. It's just like how Black history is not just for Black people. You know, the truth is the truth. Everyone needs to know the truth. So I will be trying to disseminate it as far and wide as possible. But I going to use it as a tool to kind of come sit down and ground with my brethren them in different regions and share information. So maybe the next series of book will be telling our present day story from I brethren and sisters point of view, and not just from the historical, you know, standpoint.
Rastafari. Yes, my lord. Yes, Bobo, give thanks. I think we're gonna seal it up right there, so. You know what I mean? Give thanks for the word sound. Give
I just
thanks.
want to leave with the listening audience, you know. I for endeavor to emancipate I and I self from mental slavery. Because while, you know, your brethren and your sister can free you from the physical chains, only you can free your mind from the trappings of Babylon. See? So make we read and use knowledge to empower ourselves. The more knowledge we get, the more powerful we get. And we're not talking about a force that creates damage. We're talking about power that enhances I and I character, enhances I and I divinity. See? So read, my brethren and sisters, read about your history, read about science and technology, so we know what's going on and we know how to maneuver ourselves around what's going on. See? Art of love. Jah is love, let all I and I continuously love one another.
Jah Rastafari.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Yes, brothers and sisters, right, that's right there, you know. Oh, yeah, we want to give thanks to the Honorable Priest Dougie for taking the time, you know what I mean, reasoning about Rastafari in the 21st century, what life has started, I and I. New book, it's out there right now. As him say, you can check the email that is there. You see me, I say, we're going to get the email and drop it within the description.
Roots Foundation at gmail.com, everyone. Roots Foundation at gmail.com.
Roots Foundation at gmail.com. So, right there, so it there. Right there, so it there. So, I want to thank everyone where take the time out today. Manners and respect. If for the first time they are them there will be on the platform, please subscribe. Zane, yes I. Please subscribe to the platform here and, you know, share the word and be a part of the family. Zane, so want to say manners and respect, peace and love. Thank you all for tuning in. Manners and respect. Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie,
Jah
Rastafari.